And I've done this walk a million times already in my head. I've been training since I was a teenager, dude. I've been dreaming of this. This isn't it for me though, right? Like I plan on climbing to the top one day at a time, man.
Arnett goes down, and there's the end of the fight. Cory Sandhagen living up to the hype tonight.
That's like a separate art in itself, is just like the being able to get yourself to a state where it's like nothing else matters except for beating this person. Nothing else matters. And that's where I've been going in the last couple times, you know, and I attribute it to a lot of meditations, but I'm doing different kind of meditations. I know everyone kind of throws that word around, and I'm not a guru or anything, so I don't know the terminology or whatever, but in my experience, there's a lot of different kinds. So now I'll do some where it's like, instead of making myself really peaceful, now it's time to go on that other end of the spectrum and be able to, you know, if I can quiet my mind, great, but now let's kind of like wake it up, you know, or not wake up the mind, but wake up the body to a point where it's like, when it's go time, like I can actually go.
I think I'm super comfortable in the cage, and only getting more comfortable. But yeah, it's just how I go out there, man. If I go out there like ready to hurt this person and keep myself safe, which, you know, are the two things that I think about, I do good. I always used to see the guys in there after a really bad knockout, the winner that is, that would, he'd cheer and he'd roar, and I'd be like, man, like, you're a jerk, you know? But now I get it, you know? Like, I understand that when you go into a fight, man, you're so pumped, full of hormones and chemicals and things happening, and you have to put yourself in a certain state of mind in order to survive, and it doesn't just wear off the second that the fight is over. It took my cornerman to look at me and say, hey man, we need to be respectful, like he's still down. And then it hit me, you know, and then I kind of looked over. He was still laying down. Maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes is what I would maybe guess. And it kind of hit me, man. Like I mean, you see when they're raising my hand, man. Like it kind of hit me a little bit weird in my heart to have done that to someone. But yeah, it was an interesting feeling, man. I had never knocked anyone out that bad, and I was actually genuinely concerned with how he was doing, you know.
In the last two fights, I've really like come to find, you know, I don't want to call it like anger, but that place where like I know that I have to go out and be a different person than like when I'm walking day to day. I upped the meditations, I upped the visualizations, I started feeding my brain different things, because like I said, man, like I like to think that, you know, a lot of life is about relationships and loving each other and this and that, you know, and you know, I've done my fair share of reading on like Eastern philosophy and, you know, eliminating the ego, eliminating desires, and, you know, all of that jazz. And I realized that that's really great to like be able to like, you know, conquer like some peace inside of you, you know, and be able to like do that. I think after you do that though, if you're gonna be in the world that I'm in, you need to also like conquer war, you know, and you need to learn a lot about that, and you need to know how to get there, you know. So the point that I was bringing up, man, is that like that's inside of everyone, you know, like the same type of anger and like, you know, like let me get this out type of feeling, I think is inside of everyone. I don't think everyone gets to experience it, and I don't think that everyone gets to see it as a positive thing. And because I always saw it as not a positive thing, and when someone would walk out or after a fight act like a, you know, like an arrogant idiot, you know, like I would judge that person, you know. And then I got to thinking after I lost, I was like, man, like there is a level of peacocking happening. There is a level of intimidation. Like there is a level of manipulation. Like there's a reason that like warriors in the past used to torture each other. It's not because they liked it. It's because if I torture this person and I peacock, because that was kind of their version of peacocking, that's going to scare the other side.
It's a bloodlust a little bit, you know. It's like I think that there's a couple different types of fighters. I think a lot of fighters, the moment is very big and they're brutal just by nature, and they need to become more technical. I think that's one brand of fighter. And then you have a little bit more cerebral guys like myself who want to take a technical approach to things. But I think in both circumstances, the one will only get you so far. And I think that I got really far just kind of having this really technically minded, cerebral approach to the game. And in the since I lost to Aljamain, I've connected with that brutal part of me. I've been reading like, a lot of stuff on, and this, it might sound weird, but whatever, this is my job and stuff, but a lot of like old military strategy of like intimidation, like what ancient tribes used to do in order to intimidate other tribes. Just the art of war in general, I've been really studying down since that last fight, and I'm learning that when you're doing something as brutal as fighting, because when you're in there, it's your body and brain think you're trying to survive. Like it thinks it's to the death. It's not this like, oh, I'm gonna go home in 25 minutes. It's not that when you're inside of there. So I've really connected with that part of me that is that ancient war type of feeling where it's like, hey, like we're either taking this guy out, and I'm not gonna say eat his heart anymore because I don't want to turn into a meme again, but it's a little dark. It's a little dark. In my head, I'm not losing any more fights until I retire. So that's where I am in my head. I don't plan on losing anymore. Will it happen? Not up here. Maybe in the real world it will, but in my head it's not happening. So nah, man, it's strictly I'm making legacy. Like I'm making my legacy. I'm not holding anything back. I'm putting people away, and I'm winning a world title this year. And if I don't know what I got to do, give me a name. Whatever it is that I got to do, I'll do. I'll make it happen. I'll make it entertaining. But whatever the people want, man, besides me turning into a Colby Covington or a Henry Cejudo, I'm willing to do. Just tell me what I got to do, and I'll do that.
I think the better I get, the more I realize how not great I am in certain spots, which is a good thing, because I know that like comparatively I'm much better than a lot of people. But no, I always have a learner's brain, man. Like I don't think I'm anywhere near 100%. There's so much to be learned in this sport. I don't think it'll ever end. That will never end. I think I'll always feel like a beginner, especially the better I get, I'll probably just feel even more and more like a beginner.
I'm winning that belt this year. I don't like the idea of me not having that belt, especially with where I am in my head and just my new mentality, man. Like, it feels wrong that I don't have that thing around my waist, and I'm gonna stop at nothing in order to get it.